us. And I don't want to spoil the surprise. I'd like to have Nirupa go ahead and introduce our wonderful guest.
We do indeed have a very special and wonderful guest. We have the amazing Andrea Cisco, who's going to talk to us about mentoring. Andrea, could you share a little bit about your background?
Sure, and thank you both. Great to see both of you. Right now, I am the COO of the Future Work Institute and the International Multicultural Institute. In addition to that, I'm a co-founder of the Inclusion Allies Coalition, better known as IAC, and a member of the Globally Conscious Peacemakers. Proud of both of those organizations, and being a part of them and working with them and seeing them grow and expand. During my profession, I've done train the trainers, which I like quite a bit, working with new professionals and sharing with them what we have learned and then seeing them develop and grow into the field. I'm fond of mentoring. You already mentioned mentoring. That's one of the things that I really do love. And, maybe I'll talk a little bit more about that, because that's really important for people in their development. I was raised that family is first, that family comes first. And so throughout my career, I've had to blend the two. Sometimes it is really hard, but that's the way I was raised. And in fact, that's what I had to do. I've worked in the United States and many other countries, and certainly enjoyed that work and the challenge, of working with other cultures. In terms of something that I love dearly is an organization that I am a member of, and that's the Mama Foundation for the Arts. We've done great work with young people using music as the vehicle for gospel, jazz, rhythm, and blues, the language of the Black community, if you will, through music, and working with young people and adults as well in a choir that performs also all around the world. My educational background is, and I'm always proud to say this, in my city, that I went to Hunter College of the City University of New York, and my master's is from Long Island University here in Brooklyn, which is about 10 blocks from my house. So that's my New York stuff that I'm really proud of. That's just a little bit of my background.
Well, that is an amazing background. You mentioned that you co-founded the Inclusion Allies Coalition. Can you tell us why you co-founded that organization? And also, what is the value of membership in IAC?
Sure. The Inclusion Allies Coalition came about after the very contentious, divisive political scene that went on after the election of one of our presidents. As a result of that, there was legislation that was directly oppositional to the work that we do. And for our practitioners, our community of practitioners, the DEI people, they were meeting all kinds of resistance. The workplace became hostile. Their clients were confused. And we said, we have to do something. So a group of us got together, and I will say it was Howard Ross and Leslie Traub, Margaret Regan, Mary Frances Winters, Deb Daggett, and others who got this started. And of course, Greg, who has been, a leader in the Inclusion Allies Coalition. And so what we started with 60 members and grew to 750. And we thought, whoa, people really needed this. Mm-hmm. And so there are a lot of benefits, and there's a reason for that growth. It's what we were offering. So we offer webinars, which are really just top of the class, I will say. The subject matter is timely. The panelists are chosen because of their depth of knowledge and expertise from all kinds of backgrounds, by the way. So when one comes to one of the webinars, you are not only educated, about the content of what we're talking about, but also you walk away with resources, a recording of the webinar and other resources, articles, etc., that are often given to us by our panelists or that we research and give. Now that we've become a membership organization, this is available mostly to paid members. We have an advocacy committee, and I like to think about that advocacy committee as the feeder. They talk about and bring to the table what are some of the issues that are top of mind and that need to be looked at by the Inclusion Allies Coalition as we're advocating for different groups. They're a feeder, if you will, into the webinar committee, helping to advise, we really need to look at this, and then we start to get to work on it. We also, one of the reasons for our growth is the wonderful social media committee that we have, led by someone who's on this call with us, Greg Jenkins. But I mean, he has increased our outreach around the world exponentially. I mean, if you see the numbers, they're phenomenal for a small organization. And so we're grateful for that. That also, along with the work of the membership, has helped us to expand. And of course, I left to last the mentoring committee, which is a great benefit for organizations. If you join, and particularly now as a paid member, and you want or you have some of your team members who are in the diversity and inclusion space, and they need some mentoring, here it is. And who are the mentors? They're just great folks. They are thought leaders in this profession. And we have about two rounds of mentoring of 6 months each during the year. And we have mentors sitting, waiting, loving to mentor folks who are coming into our field. The field has changed. And so this is absolutely necessary, because what we face when we go into clients now is different, So those are some of the benefits. Yeah.
Thank you, Andrea. And I want to thank you for the social media committee shout out.
Yeah.
And I also want to mention, though, that Nirupa Netram, also here, and Seema Lieberman and Eleanor Stutz are part of that makes up the committee, and we're very grateful.
Absolutely, kudos to them. Yeah, no, sure.
So going back to the mentor, I'd just like to, a couple more things on mentoring. How did you initially get into mentoring? What drove you to serve as a mentor? Can you go back to the beginning of what that motivation was about?
I think I had no language for it in the beginning. I think it happened to me sort of organically, but it was people who saw something in me. Even from my 8th grade teacher who had to take the place of the principal and made me the teacher. Yes.
Wow.
And then when I went to college, my Spanish teacher had to be away for I think a week and asked me to run the class. And I said, what is this? But I was forced into a new kind of learning, and they did give me tips and support, okay? Then it happened, this happened to me a number of times. And I think out of my family that I knew you had to give back, but this was the way that I liked giving back, And so I think I started naturally to mentor people as well. Another thing, I was very conscious of the lack of mentoring for women, and particularly Black women, and Black men. And so when they came into the organization, I sort of attached myself to them and said, come on over, let's talk. And, I told them how the organization worked, how to navigate, et cetera, et cetera. So it was natural. So when I had the opportunity to do it formally, work with clients, building their mentoring capacity, and putting together the mentors and mentees, I loved it. It just appeals to me a lot. You see people grow, you see them blossom, and so if you like it, then you work really, really hard to see that happen.
So on the client front, is there a particular client or party that really stands out in your mind as a great mentoring experience that you had with one of those?
Yes, it's mentoring, and it's the change that I saw over a period of time. Now, I had to write something recently for that organization, and I went back through the years to see, what I had done with them. And I, oh my God, I said, it's 20 years that I started with this organization. So some of the mentoring went with some of the professional staff, but here's why I say they're one of my favorite. Over 20 years, I've seen the change in language. I've seen a change in the cohesion among three entities, diverse by age, ethnicity, social status. So there were Blacks, there were Hispanics, there were Caribbeans, there were Orthodox people, there were white people, there were just all kinds of people in different areas, not different communities, who came together in a new way. However, that didn't just happen. The director was intentional and persistent and always recognizing these folks, who they were and what they needed, and made it happen for them. And so working with a great client and then seeing the change, I'm not talking about perfection here. This is a struggle to make organizational change, but it is my favorite. It really is, because of what I've seen happen. And I like communities and community work. So to see it happen, I was particularly proud, because that's sort of where it starts also.
Wonderful. Well, Andrea, so for a person or people that may be considering or just getting started in mentoring and they're trying to learn the ropes a little bit, could you maybe share like 3 action steps that would be easy to follow, some guidelines, if you would, for folks that want to become a mentor?
Know yourself. Know yourself. Know what you know. Really understand what the person is asking for you. Communicate, communicate, communicate. The other thing is, if you are really intentional about doing this, don't make a whole lot of excuses and get out of your mentoring appointments. Okay? Make the time for it. People are hanging on to the next meeting, the next thing that you have to offer. The other thing is, if you're working with people who are from different cultures, please find out something about that culture, that style. It is so very important. And have that open conversation with them. You can talk about culture and those kinds of things, and be honest and be vulnerable. Open yourself out. Be honest. Tell your story. That's really helpful to people, to hear how you made it. And if you stumbled and you fell, that's okay too, but you stood back up. But how did you stand up? What did you do different? Very important. And honesty to me is very important.
Well, thank you so much, Andrea. Those great advice, great action steps. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Andrea. As you mentioned, thank you for sharing a little bit more about your story. Any sort of final advice for our audience, including how people can reach you?
Yeah, so at my email address, Cisco, CISCO, at futureworkinstitute.com, futureworkinstitute.com. And I'm on LinkedIn as well, so I think either way is fine. Last words. Really keep learning. And what I've been saying in my classes now is this is about doing no harm. Learn how to do no harm. And so do no harm and share that and make people feel good about themselves. That's what I would say.
That's great advice. Well, that's our show, everyone. If you like today's content, be sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see